Honorable Chairman of the 13th convocation of this illustrious university, esteemed Vice Chancellor, respected Dr. R.S. Sharma ji, esteemed Registrar of the University, Controller of Examination, members of the Executive Council, Academic Council, Dean Academics, members of the teaching faculty of the university, graduates, invitees, parents, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to record my sincere sense of thanks and gratitude to Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University for giving me this opportunity of putting across a convocation address at this notable 13th convocation ceremony. With great pleasure, recording my gratitude to the Honorable Chancellor, Shri Sanjay Ji Patil, and of course my humble salutations to the Founder Chancellor of the University, Honorable Shri D.Y. Patil Ji, whose realistic vision is a manifestation of this and several other universities. At the outset, I join learned chairperson in according a very warm compliments to all the graduates for their notable success and their legitimate entitled for the conferment of the degree in this today's convocation. My diligent compliments to all the medal and award winners, all the conferees of the doctoral degree, and all those who are present and in absentia for the conferment of their degrees to their credits. Dear children, there are 2 or 3 important little parables which I am wanting to be putting across this day. The level of education which has been put across, the quality education which stands extended to you out of this university, the nature of transformation which stands certified today, it makes you stand on a standpoint where you are wanting now to be beginning a new scripture in terms of era of your new lease of professional life. You need to remember that higher education by itself, although is a matter of right, legitimate entitlement, but believe me, if the present situation and scenario is expected to be taken note of, even today the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, Chairman Sir, is only 28%, which goes to indicate that in spite of 7 decades of the freedom, more than 72% of the people who are legitimately entitled to higher education still have no access to it. And therefore you are the luckiest people to whom the doors of higher education, to whom the doors of an educational institution like D.Y. Patil University, you entered into the portals of the same. By your diligent work, by your effort, by your painstaking approach, you are today standing at the threshold point where your entitlement has manifested in not only awards but also the conferment of degree. You are a privileged lot, dear children. What exactly this privilege is to be translated into is a material question. I wish all of you to succeed in life. But simultaneously, I would like to remind you that success is not an accident. It's not an aberration. It's not a lottery. It does not germinate out of the thin air, nor does it cascade out of the heaven on its own. It has to be earned. It has to be indulged into. It has to be dwelled into. It has to be pursued. It is with patience, it's with discipline, it's with devotion, it's with dedication that it is required to be earned too. But then, what is mandated is needed to be taken note of. It is mandated that you shall equip yourself for that success. Degree is the entitlement of the same, but that's not all. It's passion which has to be carried. It's attitude which has to be upheld. It's intent which has to be absolutely upheld in its realistic sense. And it's an unending commitment which is supposed to be driving you on. It's precisely for this day. We are calling this as a convocation ceremony. Dikshant ceremony as it is called. It is end of Diksha. But it is not end of Siksha, dear children. You need to keep in mind. Indian scripture contemplate Dikshant. But Chairman Sir, there is no Sikshant. That is the beauty of lifelong learning. Today, you are declared yourself open to a lifelong learning for the purposes of your self-armory, self-equipment, self-update, self-transformation, and self-emancipation. Keeping in mind that the educational system that you and me have today, it has developed over a period of time with great degree of effort and indulgence. 15th August 1947, when you and me got freedom, India had only 20 universities under its belt. The total number of colleges which were then were only 912. The total gross enrollment ratio which was open and available at the dawn of independence was barely 1%, which stands translated to 28% in 2024. And it is expected that by 2035, we will be in a position to upgrade this gross enrollment ratio to maybe about 50%, which again is not enough. We are one of the second largest higher educational system in the world, ladies and gentlemen. But then, prosperity of the country does not lie only in expansion of the educational system. That expansion is possible in terms of what has been very categorically put across by Dr. Abdul Kalam in very candid sense, which I am wanting to quote as a part of this convocation address of mine. He very beautifully goes on to say, quote, just as 19th century belonged to Britishers because of colonial imperialism, just as 20th century belonged to Americans by virtue of the scientific and technological advent at their disposal, in the same vein, 21st century shall belong to India and Mother India alone. But then, it's not automatic that this 21st century shall belong to you and me. He has indicated the path as to how 21st century is expected to be belonging to Mother India. Ladies and gentlemen, the path which has been put across, a convocation is a testimony to the same. He says that today India is one of the uniquely placed nations in the world. When world is aging, when the average age of the world is 72 years, the average age of India is half the age of the world, and that's only 36 years. The 52% of the population of India is below 25 years of age. And therefore, he goes to say that this demographic dividend, which is there bestowed on your and my country, is the real strength by virtue of which you and me will be in a position to emerge as the global leaders of 21st century. But then why and how? Transformation of these demographic dividends into precious human resource is the only way in which the supremacy of Mother India will be established. This convocation certifies that in this prestigious university, well over 600 graduates have been churned out, and those graduates are demographic dividends in your form, having been transformed into precious human resource. This precious human resource, nurtured properly, upheld properly, developed properly, growing properly, getting chiseled appropriately, and taking up the challenges and cuddles in the terms of global challenges is the real path and real way forward. I am sure, not only sure, but quite confident that three important armories which my graduates will pick up as a part of their real wealth in life. Number one, you need to build trust and confidence on whom? आप विश्वास करें, पर किसका विश्वास करें, किस पर विश्वास करें? कहा जाता है इन पर विश्वास करें, ये विश्वसनीय है। कहा जाता है उन पर विश्वास करें, वे विश्वसनीय है। मैं आपसे केवल इतना निवेदित करता हूं, आप किसी और पर विश्वास करने से पहले अपने आप पर विश्वास करें। आत्मविश्वास, दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द रियल आंसर and the real key to all your future propensities. For simple reason, किसी और पर किया गया विश्वास, उसके साथ विश्वासघात संभव है, उसके साथ विश्वासघात होता है, परंतु अपने आप पर किया गया विश्वास, इस पर आज तक न कभी विश्वासघात हुआ, न आज हो सकता है और न कभी होने की संभावना है। Therefore your treasure shall be believe yourself, and meager belief will not be enough, as has been put across by Napoleon Hill when it is said, conceive big. You need to conceive big. Meager conception will not do. Believe big. You have to believe in big. One who conceives big, one who believes big, let me assure you, he or she alone achieves big. Therefore, the trinity which I am wanting to be put into the lap of all my young graduates is, dear graduates, conceive big, you are entitled to it. Believe big, you are bound to, and I am sure you shall achieve big for self, for the human society, and for the Mother India as a whole, making India the leader of the 21st century through your aegis. This will mandate, dear graduates, a sense of attitude which will be necessary for you to develop. All of us talk about positive attitude. Let me put it across very candidly. Positive attitude does not mean absence of negative attitude. Positive attitude means taking up a cuddle and challenge in terms of having two hands with it. And that's exactly what I'm wanting to put across. Attitude contemplates facing challenges, facing difficulties, taking up concerns, cuddles with, and capable of generating answers to them timely, effectively, and efficiently. But then, आव्हानं येतील, सामोरं जावं लागेल. आव्हानांना समोर जाताना मनात कुठेतरी शंका आणि कुशंका निर्माण होते. हे आव्हान फेस करणं मला जमेल का? हे झेपेल का? अनेकांना जमलं आणि झेपलं नाही, मलाही कसं काय झेपेल? माझ्यात शाश्वती नाही. प्रश्न इथे असा आहे की आव्हानांना समोर जात असताना शेवटी मनातला निर्धार काय असावा तो महत्त्वाचा आहे. आणि तो निर्धार म्हणजे यालाच आपण पॉझिटिव्ह ॲटिट्यूड म्हणतो. मनातला जो प्रश्न की मला हे जमेल का, and therefore the question whether I will be able to do it in the form of a question mark, can I, is a real blockade. I am only telling my graduates, instead of putting a poser of can I, your approach shall be no can I. It shall be I can, and I can, and the moment your attitude will be I can in life, take it from me, you shall, and you shall. I am reminded of a small little sentence which was uttered in a convocation address when, like you, on 18th of January 1978, like a scholar, I received my MBBS degree in my lap. I am reminded of that day. The chief guest in the convocation address, what put across, it is that, Chairman, sir, I want to hand over what I heard as a graduate way back on 18th of January 1978 as a MBBS degree holder. I am passing on to my young children. What I was told then, today with grace, with elegance, with all permissibility, I am putting into your laps. The chief guest then said a very beautiful quote. He says, Oscar Wilde says, life is a challenge and therefore a question mark. Life is a question. It has to be answered. But then, primarily, life is not just a question. Whole life is a sentence. You need to punctuate it. The question will be, today you are also embarking onto a new lease of life. It's a sentence for you, and you will be required to punctuate it. The material question will be, there are various punctuation marks which are open and available for you. Which one is required to be put across? And then the options are whether the life as a sentence will be punctuated by a comma. The situation is, comma will never be in a position to give it a full sense. Therefore, it should not be punctuated by comma. Whether it can be put across by a full stop. Oscar Wilde says, fools, they stop at full stop. Therefore, my graduates cannot afford to be foolish. Should it be put into a question mark? God forbid. That will be the worst proposition, because that will be absolutely ending in insolubility. And God forbid, should it be ending with a punctuation of exclamation mark? Oscar Wilde says, there cannot be nothing more worse than you are required to be punctuating your life with an exclamation mark. Then, what is the punctuation mark with which the life is expected to be punctuated? And believe me, graduates, what I was told by the chief guest, I am telling you. He says, live and lead your life in such a way, in such a manner, in such ease, in such elegance, with such efficiency, with such efficacy, and with such effectivity, that you don't have to punctuate with either a comma, or a semicolon, or a full stop, or a question mark, or much less an explanation mark. You live an exemplary life, whereby instead of you, people punctuate you not into a comma, not into a full stop, not into an exclamation mark, not into a question mark, but they put you into inverted comma. And therefore life is meant for inverted comma, and not only for a comma, full stop, exclamation mark, or question mark. Therefore I am taking the liberty of, with the concurrence of the chair, with all these leading educational luminaries as a witness, I am intending to declare, over and above the degrees conferred on the graduates, I am declaring those present before me and those in absentia in this 13th convocation address of mine, that I am declaring all these graduates eligible, suitable, and deserving to be putting their lives, which will fetch them inverted commas at an appropriate time. Ladies and gentlemen, the second poser which I am wanting to put across is, all of us become responsible for our own signature in terms of Indian law the moment you reach 18 years of age. 18 वर्षाचं वय झालं, आपण आपल्या स्वाक्षरीला जबाबदार होऊन जातो. त्याच्यानंतर ही बोलण्याची मुभा नसते. अनावधानानं सही केली, माहिती नव्हतं कशावरती सही केली, सही होऊन गेली, भान नव्हतं, याची सुटका नसते, याचं अवसर नसतं. You become responsible for your signature. Dada Dharmadhikari says, everybody will be reaching 18 years of age. And with attainment of that age, Chairman Sir, every youth will become responsible for his signature. But then you need, on this convocation day, to put a question to yourself. Are you just born to sign and be responsible for your signature? Or you are born to convert your signature into an autograph? That is the challenge which life puts across to you, dear children. The second parable which I am putting to this illustrious gathering of my young graduates is, I am declaring, all of you not being born only to be writing small-time prescriptions and affixing your signature. You are entitled to be leading your life, which is worthy of being quoted into inverted comma, which will transform you not only into an ordinary person to an extraordinary person, not only from a person to a personality, but you are entitled to be converted from a person to personality to a persona. And therefore that persona will not only be making his signatures, but his or signatures will get converted into autographs, which people will hold and put across their chest. Oh, I have the autograph of so and so. I am declaring all of you, therefore, be eligible, bold, courageous, with conviction, passion, devotion, and determination to be converting your signature into autograph, which will be the glory to Mother India. That is the path of supremacy. And therefore, all of you as professional graduates, ladies and gentlemen, you will be dispensing a profession. The profession which is called as health profession, in the domain of medicine, in the domain of nursing, in the domain of allied health sciences. It's the nobility of the profession which is expected to be kept alive. The profession is noble in nature and character. It is the nobility which has to be sustained. It is the nobility which has to be catered to. It is the nobility which has to be upheld. And it is the nobility which has to be pursued, which means it has to be practiced with concern. It has to be practiced with compassion. It has to be practiced with empathy. It has to be practiced with not just sahanubhuti, but it has to be practiced with samanubhuti. I always put this across very candidly, Chairman, sir. What I am advocating in this convocation address, the science that I have taught you and the science that I have learned does not subscribe to this. Nobody can share anybody's pain is a physiological reality. I have taught my students, I have examined my students when they wrote answer on the path of pain and pain physiology as, if thorn gets pricked into my foot, the pain is mine because the receptor is mine. The effector is mine, the integrator is mine, the neuron is mine, the spinothalamic tract is mine, the thalamus is mine, therefore the pain is mine. There is no sharing of the pain and that count. This is the language which is of science. But the language of compassion which converts the science into artistic domain is different. And therefore, what is that language which is ought to be pursued? Sahir Ludhianvi, in 4 lines has put across that language, Chairman, sir, which puts it very aptly as to what exactly is meaning by compassion and empathy in that domain. He says, Meri khatir jo aaye hain, tumhari aankh mein aansu. Meri khatir jo aaye hain, tumhari aankh mein aansu. बन जाएं शाम मोहब्बत के सितारे आंसू. कौन भला देख सकता है ये प्यारे आंसू, मेरी आंखों में ही आ जाएं तुम्हारे आंसू. It's this ethos, ladies and gentlemen. It's this essence, it is this fragrance which ultimately goes for the humanization of the profession and pursuit, drenched into an essence of humanity which stands tall with concern and compassion. It's that legitimacy which is required to be inbuilt, and this is the legitimacy which is needed for a world which is plagued by iniquity, for a world which is plagued by absolutely poverty, a world which is plagued by have-nots. In that essence, ladies and gentlemen, the duty and the honor that you are expected to be having has to be taken care of. Unto the last is a real connotation which has to be held by all of us together. It's that transformation which ultimately makes us legitimately duty-bounded towards the dispensation of that human cause. I know it for sure. These are the concerns and challenges which your sensitive mind will be in a position to pick up, and you shall leave no stone unturned to be working that out in terms of your own growth, development, progress and prosperity, catering to that humanistic cause in its totalistic essence, bringing a name to yourself, bringing credit to your family, bringing credit to your alma mater, bringing credit to the human society, bringing credit to the nation as a whole, and also bringing credit to the global community and global committee as a whole. It's in that context, ladies and gentlemen, I urge upon you in this convocation address by saying what Swami Vivekananda had said. Ultimately, the whole process of education is only for a trinity of purposes to be dispensed with. It is primarily for man-making. Primarily through man-making, character building, and through character building, nation building turns to be the answer. This is the trinity which the country has putting into your lap to be upheld and dispensed by. And hence, my concluding proposition which I am wanting to be putting across in this convocation address of mine with the concurrence of the chair is, dear graduates, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is achieved. All world will be at your feet. March ahead with vigor. March ahead with vitality. March ahead with purpose. March ahead with clarity. March ahead with conviction. March ahead with character. The world will fall on your feet and will stand in your line, where you will not only be exemplary in nature, you shall turn out to be emulative in character. I am sure that this convocation of address of mine definitely shall be picked up by you for the purposes of it being taken as a small little shidori which shall guide you into your life in transforming you not only as successful professionals in times to come, but as successful human beings who will be worthy of emulation and being exemplary as well. I therefore, in all serenity, in all sincerity, put this across, invoking all that is good, all that is pious, all that is pure from every corner to be bestowed into the lap of my graduates in order to make them glow, glitter, shine, shower, and of course, guide the destiny of humanization of the human society in all times to come. I am sure you shall. I am sure you will. And I am sure you must. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. I now request the Registrar, Dr. Vishwanath Bhosle, to invite our Vice Chancellor to deliver concluding remarks for this convocation ceremony.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, I request you to please declare that this convocation ceremony is over.
Now I declare that the convocation ceremony is over.
Thank you, sir. I request the audience to rise for the national song. On behalf of D.Y. Patil Education Society, deemed to be University Kolhapur, I express my deep gratitude to all the dignitaries and each one present here for gracing the occasion and making it so special and memorable. I request the assembly to wait silently till the procession leaves the convocation hall. All degree recipients are requested to remain in the hall and be seated. They will be invited on the dais to receive their respective degrees. I request the audience to rise as the procession leaves the hall. We request you to remain seated after that.